Hello, Mike from GetVoIP.com, and today I'm going to show you guys how to set up call groups with Vocalocity. Call groups are basically a form of automated call distribution. It's a way to ensure that calls that are incoming from your customers are going to the right place. For instance, if you'd like the 3 people that are working in sales to get a particular call, you can set it up so that their 3 phones will ring, and appropriately so. If someone's calling for tech support, you also want those calls to be directed to the right place. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is to add it to your system. So you're just going to click Phone System, and you'll see the options appear on the left side here, and then you're going to click Groups. Okay, so it's very simple. From here you can go ahead and add a call group to your account. I'm logged in as the super user right now, which is Vocalocity's name for the main administrator, the big cheese, who are responsible for everything. So we want one call group just to start with. Okay, so you'll see that Vocalocity prorates, since we're already getting into the month here. There's also a USF fee for this, so it's going to come out to a total of $1.94. Okay, we're going to go ahead and buy that now. And within a few seconds, we have call groups on our account. Okay, so you can just go ahead and click Finish and move on to the next step. Alright, so you'll notice that your newly acquired call group will appear instantly. You can go ahead and jump into that. It's extension 402. We're going to call this call group Sales. And the extensions that are going to ring with this, obviously we are using our Vocalocity account for testing purposes. We only have one extension set up right now, but you would basically add whatever extensions for what individuals were responsible for which duties. For example, whoever worked in sales, you would put the 4 or 5 extensions of those individuals to the left, and then you would just click Update. Okay, so once all those extensions are added, you'll notice with Vocalocities, most of their setup on the back end here, you can't really do step B without setting up step A. So make sure you cascade and go down the line and do things one by one. It'll save you a lot of time and angst in the long run. So next step is dialing properties. We're going to leave that at blast. This way it'll be simultaneous ring for all extensions within that group. We'll drop the time down to 10 seconds. 20 is a bit long. And here's where you would set up a name greeting, which would identify your call group when the customer calls in. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with this. You would usually just hit record, enter a phone number, whatever your nearest, hit dial, and then that phone will ring next to you with instructions on creating a recording. Okay, here's call screening. We're going to turn that on right now. This will basically ask who's calling. There's already a default set up here, and we're going to leave that as is. The next thing to do would be to hit screen menu, where the caller would hear options. It's basically like an auto attendant within an auto attendant, but this one is created for the user, for the actual employee, whether they want to accept the call or press 2 to send the caller to voicemail. Which brings me to the next step, which is call group voicemail options. So you see you have 4 options here. You can only toggle one at a time, clearly. This would be to use the group's voicemail box. Now, this is where you would set up the PIN. Whoever was the lead administrator would have to relay this number to everyone who's in the call group in case they wanted them to, so they would have access to the voicemail as well, or conversely, not give that to them so only one person would have access to that voicemail. Obviously, the possibilities are vast. So with sending voicemail to email, all you would have to do here is enter a email. So I would get a WAV file or MP3 straight to my mailbox with whatever voicemail was left. This is really useful so you don't have to go in and out of the system and check it. If you're anything like me, you're sporadically and constantly checking your email throughout the day. So here you can set to delete the voicemail, play an automated voice prompt. This would basically say that your call group is unavailable, please leave a voicemail at the tone. You can use a specified extensions voicemail. This would be so one individual would be getting the voicemail and have access to it, but I kind of like group voicemail so everybody can act accordingly in case some person is out of the office that is usually responsible for this. Or you can conversely have the call go into a further part of the loop to be forwarded back to the auto attendant or to one extension specifically. And the last option here, which I don't see many companies really opting for, because you will lose business and you'll definitely your customers will lose patience as well if they're instantly disconnected after the greeting is played. But stranger things have happened, and to each their own. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, like I said before, you can't achieve step B without performing step A. This is more or less step C in the process. Either way, just make sure you do it. You go back to your PBX summary and make sure that if you do have your main auto attendant set up to field calls that are incoming. Alright, so once you come back here, you're going to make sure that you work in that newly added sales department into your options. When your customers call in, you're going to set up for them to dial 2. Let's say, for instance, that this was dial 2 for Frank, and then it would be dial 3 for 402, which you and I know is sales. This is currently after hours virtual receptionist, but you get the whole idea of it. And you're going to just make sure that you pretty much incorporate anything new that you might add, whether it be a call group or an extension or a queue. Be certain that you're putting these into your virtual receptionist and constantly updating options to make sure that your system is optimized and running on all cylinders. So I think that'll just about cover it. As usual, you guys can write into us if you have any questions, but I think that just about covers it, and I wanted to give everybody a good look at how call groups work today. So thanks for tuning in. This has been Mike from GetVoip.com.